Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Inside Track, Equibase's weekly handicapping podcast, where we give our analysis, picks, and wagers for a couple of the weekend's top races. This week is a little bit different, as it is our NHC special episode, as we are recording here in Las Vegas at Horseshoe Casino for NHC 2025. So if you are in Vegas, please stop by our Race Lens booth. You get yourself a free hat, a pen, a stadium cup just for visiting. We got free quarterly giveaways twice a day, and also special NHC pricing for Race Lens subscriptions. I'm your host, Ben Kudla, and today I'm joined by a very special guest, Christina Blacker, a FanDuel TV racing host, analyst, and reporter with prominent roles with TVG and NBC Sports over the years. She's also the co-founder of I Am Horse Racing, a nonprofit organization dedicated to sharing stories of racing's unsung heroes. She serves as one of the speakers at the Horse Racing Women's Summit and is also a board member for Light Up Racing and Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance. Big name in the industry, Christina. Lovely to have you on. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, Ben, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I'm happy to jump in and talk a little bit about the racing, and really excited to be there in Vegas with you and with the team on Friday. Looking forward to it. I love NHC. It's one of my favorite trips every year. It's really fun to just get to know some of the horse players, to learn from people. I think everybody has their own methods and their own strategies, and I really enjoy kind of picking the brains of all the best horse players kind of in the country there in Vegas. And of course, talking about Race Lens and how the product helps me and helps many of the players that are there right in your own kind of backyard there in the ballroom.
Yeah, and if you do have questions about Race Lens, myself and Ella Starr will be on deck, as well as Christina, to kind of help, create angles and questions you have for individual research, true odds, anything that you could think of. So please stop on by and say hi. But NHC, we're finally here. Today was the first chance contest. Can't believe it. 1,002 entries, 690 of those going for competing for 32 seats in NHC 2025 tomorrow, and 312 of those we're competing for 14 seats in next year's NHC. But tomorrow officially starts the Quest for the Eclipse Award, day one. So NHC on Friday and Saturday consists of players placing a mythical $2 win and place wager on 36 races over the course of 2 days. There are 6 mandatory races on Friday. Every player must bet an 8 on Saturday. The top 10% of entries, including ties with the mythical bankroll, will advance into the semifinal round on Sunday. The top 10 from the semifinal round on Sunday will make it to the NHC final table. So really exciting contest with the best handicappers from all over just coming together to compete against each other. And I figured for today's show, we could go over those 6 mandatory races who Christina and I would play if we were doing our win place bet for these mandatory races. So let's just start off here with race 6 at Aqueduct, claiming 50,000 for 4-year-olds and upwards, going 7 furlongs on the dirt. Christina, who do you got?
It's a really good group. I think normally when I see races like this, the 7 furlong races in New York, I'm often looking for a horse that has a little bit of speed, often looking for a horse that's turning back in distance if you can find it. But I kind of went against my usual profile in terms of a selection in here. I took the 3-horse mandatory, and maybe it's kind of fitting with these mandatory races, right? This horse gets class relief, and I just think the back class goes a long way for him. He's an 8-year-old, but he's beautifully bred, son of American Pharaoh. I know his last race isn't a lot to write home about, even the race 2 back where he got away slowly, but I like that he's been off, because I think if he runs back to anything we saw kind of this time last year, he's the class of this group on the drop. So I took the 3-horse mandatory in the race in New York.
Well, great minds think alike. I also took mandatory. It was very hard for me in a contest play not to go for a coupled entry, as you get 2 horses for the price of 1. But Jose Lezcano not on a Linda Rice horse with 2 of hers in there. I think that's very interesting. Mandatory's 5 for 5 in the money, going 7 furlongs over the Aqueduct track, 2 wins, 2 seconds in the third. So, Lezcano went at 20% in dirt sprints in the last year as well, 82 wins from a 406 starts. Mandatory ranked second in average speed with a 92. So a lot of good things going for mandatory. So there it is. Mandatory for race 6 at Aqueduct. Let's move on to Tampa Bay Downs, race number 5, mile and a 16th on the turf, claiming 16,000 for 4-year-olds and up. So here we go, down to sunny Florida.
Yeah, we're going to jump into some of these claimers. We'll have some beaten claimers. I mean, they didn't pull any punches with the assignments for the mandatory, so that they were
It was tough handicapping these. I
great.
felt I was at Red Mile with Ellis on Friday nights when we do our contests. It's all at Delta Downs and stuff.
It's not easy. I mean, I was hoping for a nice little maiden special weight or something where I could pull on some pedigrees, but 16
Right.
claimers, mile and a 16th in here. I did find a little bit of a price that I like, though. I like the 6, Mr. Crowley, in this race. He's 8-1 on the morning line. If you have the time to go back and watch that replay from February 8th at Tampa, he won a mile and a 16th. He ran for the same price tag that we're in for today, basically the same condition. No disrespect to the apprentice, but I didn't think he really did any favors for this horse just in the late stages of the race. I think we needed a little bit of a stronger finish here, and we get a veteran rider in Jesus Castanon taking over. I think a little bit more kind of muscling home is really going to help this horse. He was only beaten a half length in the end. He was finishing down the middle of the track. That race was on a class drop. It was also on the stretch out. And his race 2 back, he caught a few multiple winners. He was entered over his head for that allowance group. He knows how to win races in general. He's a 7-time winner and 28 starts. So I think Mr. Crowley, I don't know if we get that 8-1, Ben, but I think there's a lot to like about this horse, and he's worth a little bit of a price in here.
I think you're going to get every bit of that 8-1. I could not really land on an exact one that I really thought of, and I think most people are going to be in that same boat. It's going to be like the favorite's going to end up being 5-1 or something like that. I went a little different route. I did go a little shorter price, but I think it might get better than 3-1. But number 3, E Minor. Large field for claiming 16, but landed on the 3. And the 5-year-old gelded by Mendelssohn, the Tim Ham barn, Pablo Morales aboard. Ran this exact same race about a month ago, claiming 16,000, mile and 16th on the turf at Tampa with Pablo Morales aboard. Won by a length and a half. Earning career best 93 ESF for that effort, winning odds of 6-1. For the last 3 years, Tim Ham and Pablo Morales win at 41% in claiming races with horses who won last time out. Small sample size, 7 wins from 17 starts, 71% in the money with a positive 24% ROI. And he's just never been the betting public's favorite. His last 4 starts, 15-1, 37-1, 26-1, 6-1. So when placed bet, I mean, could just sneak up in here and just kind of take it. Pablo Morales winning at 20% in turf routes over the last year, 23 wins from 116 mounts. Tim Ham's winning at 26% in turf route claiming races, 5 wins from 19 starts. So 3-1 I thought was not bad, but it could be one of those races where you should just take a price because anything could happen.
It's a tough one. And then so many of them come out of that February 12th race too. And E Minor, ran best of them all. So I think you have to respect him coming back in against this group today.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. But there's Tampa Bay Downs. Let's move on to Arkansas, Oaklawn Park Race number 2, 6 furlongs on the dirt for 4-year-olds and up, claiming 8,000 for non-winners of 3 lifetime or which have not won a race since October 14th. 2024. I had a really hard time handicapping this one. Lots of voided claims, horses dropping in class for seemingly no reason. So just a lot of things can happen. I'm interested in who you got because I decided to take a monster.
Yeah, I'm with you on like the voided claims, kind of throwing your handicapping a little bit and not really knowing if you can come back and support some of those horses, because I think there were a few of those types in here. Dr. Soulfire would fit the bill in terms of that kind of angle. I ended up with the 9 cost basis in the group. Tyler Bacon is in the saddle, the 5-pound apprentice. He's been the regular rider of this horse. And I just think that if you isolate that dirt sprint 2 races back, he was pretty quick that day. He got involved. He was 3rd across the wire. Principe Carlo, who beat him, is a horse that was in Southern California forever. He's just one of those old kind of warrior type claimers. And I think cost basis, I like him back at the sprint. And I just think he's the quickest horse in here. I think there's a lot of horses that might drop back and rally from off of it, like Derby Date from the outside, who will get a lot of respect. I could see that horse winning. But again, avoided claim that you wonder about. I think if cost basis can get out on the lead, he gets in light with the apprentice, just make everybody chase him home. It might just be, that tactical advantage that gets him to the wire first.
Yeah, I love the thought, especially at a morning line 6-1. Yeah, I mean, that worth looking. I decided it was worth looking. That voided claim, Dr. Soulfire voided claim, and then Derby date again with avoided claim. But I decided to go with 12-1 morning line, number 6 Blowtorch, dropping in class from claiming 16,000 last time out, finishing 9 for the John Ortiz barn. But I think with much easier company, I think this horse is a pretty good shot for morning line 12-1. I love Eric Aspen aboard 2024 Eclipse Award champion apprentice jockey, as we all know. And Eric Aspen only has 1 career start all time together with John Ortiz, and that was on Blowtorch last time out. So they're still, getting their feet wet, finding their relationship as a jockey trainer. But Blowtorch is the only other horse besides your number 9 cost basis to actually have won at Oaklawn before. So, I like that thought. 3 wins, 2 seconds from 14 career starts at Oaklawn. True sprinter. 22 of his 33 starts were at the 6 furlong distance. So some you don't see a lot these days. But September, you want to claim in 25,000. My home of Hawthorne, bringing 95 Equibase speed figures. So this horse was, he has the ability, ranked 3rd in middle and late pace rating. So 12-1, and with all that stuff going on, I'm gonna go ahead and take that win place.
Yeah, and I think so often in these kinds of races, you're just taking the horse that is getting the most class relief, and that's kind of what he looks like, right? Overall, he dropped in class last time, but even through every other race that we see from him for quite a while on his page, he's just been in against tougher. So I definitely see where you're going with him, and that's going to be a race that might be a real separator, I think, as far as the contest goes. You're going to end up with players all over the map in this race as far as the mandatories go.
Yeah, like today with Last Chance, First Chance, there's a first at Turfway at 16-1. Half this room was screaming, the other half had like their heads down and
throwing the racing form.
yeah. So, all right, well, there's Oaklawn. We shall see what happens there. Going back to Florida, the Gulfstream Park Race 9, an allowance optional claimer, pretty good. 7.5 furlongs on the turf, kind of an interesting distance. Fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up. I thought 3 very talented fillies going to go head-to-head. I want to see who you landed on.
Yeah, I thought so too. And this was the race where I wasn't very creative. I ended up going with the favorite in here, the 2-horse Sinead. I think looking at her form, she is lightly raised, but she had a pretty significant layoff going into that last start. She was only beaten a length and 3/4, going 5 furlongs. And I sometimes try to consider where horsemen enter the horse the first time out, because I think that is their instinct in terms of what they think the horse is going to be good at. I know how the condition book comes up, and it's maybe not always true, but the fact that Jorge Abreu entered this filly going 1.16 miles first time at Saratoga on the turf, you have to assume that she hadn't shown a lot of speed and he thought she'd be a turf router, right? So then she cuts back in distance, and yeah, she was pretty handy and she was a winner in her second start, but went to the sidelines. He brings her back at the sprint. She's a huge price. She's only beaten a length and 3/4, and she looked like she was run off her feet that day. But even though we're only going 7.5 furlongs, it is a 2-turn race at Gulfstream. So if his initial read on this filly was she's a 2-turn turf filly, and now we get the chance to do that again, and she's coming off a race that I think looks like a building block. She was also in against stakes competition in that race. I mean, it looks like there's confidence in the way that he's been entering her. So yes, she's a short price. I think she's going to be a short price, but look, at the end of the day, you got to just keep trying to find those winners and notching up the leaderboard. So I didn't get too creative in here.
Fair enough. And Racelines has picked Sinead to win handily, but I decided to go a little different route, and I did also have the same idea with your 2 turns. I decided to go with a horse with that experience with the 8. She's a Tempest. Morning line 5-2, and you might get it with Sinead and then that 3-horse Diamond Vega. But I honestly think she's going to dominate tomorrow at Gulfstream. I think it'll get pretty decent price. And 4-year-old filly by Connect for Hall of Fame trainer Bill Mott with Junior Alvarado aboard. Some interesting running lines. Second start of her career, she finished second to Hope.
Sneezing.
Bless you.
Honestly, never happened to me on a podcast or I think on a show. Sorry. Tried to hold it in.
And we'll go back. Some interesting running lines. In the second start of her career, she finished second to Copian, the main special weight of Santa Anita. Copian won the Grade 1 La Brea Stakes and Open Day of Santa Anita the day after Christmas, and the Grade 2 Santa Monica Stakes on February 1st. I mean, that's a really good horse. And after she finished second to Copian, she's a Tempest, came right back to win out her next start, going a mile in the dirt at Santa Anita. That was actually the only win of her life. But out of 8 starts, she has finished in the money 6 out of 8 times. So including finishing third in back-to-back grade threes at Santa Anita, the Las Virgenes and the Santa Isabel. Comes to New York with a trainer switch to Bill Mott, running in some allowance races in the dirt. And finally, last time out, she tries the turf for the first time. Runs an 87, finishing fourth by just a couple lengths, going a mile. I think she'll heavily improve on that second time on the grass and her Equibase speed figure, and also a second off the 61 De Leon as well. So she has the best average speed here with an 85, third in average class, second in late pace rating, which is my favorite that I like to go off is late pace rating. But in the past 3 years, Bill Mott Jr. Alvarado went 23% in allowance races at Gulfstream Park, 11 wins from 47 starts. And here's some stat lines for you. You can find this on Equibase.com, courtesy of our friend Corey Patton. But over the past year, Bill Mott wins at 50% in turf sprints at Gulfstream Park, 3 wins from 6 starts. Yes, it's a very small sample size, but it's a full year. So I think this filly has finally kind of figured it out, and she's going to shine bright here tomorrow. But 5-2 I don't love, but Hall of Fame Bill Mott with Junior Alvarado. To me, that was
well, and I have to say, I feel like the sort of confidence behind your selection reminds me of when you were talking us all into journalism before the Los Al Futurity, which was the last time we were on this podcast together, and you were spot on there. And now he's everyone's Derby horse. So.
And they all picked Barnes in our last podcast.
We all getaway car that day. I mean, you crushed us all. So if this is the one that you feel strongest about, I might have to follow your lead here, Ben.
Okay. Yeah, I just think Bill Mott, he's just so talented at getting the horses just ready to run. And, and she's still young. She's just 4. So still got tons of room for improvement. But let's go to your home over here at Santa Anita. Race 5, claiming 30,000 4-year-old non-winners up 3 lifetime, 6.5 furlongs on the downhill turf course. We shall see, though. Is there some rain out there today?
It was pretty dry today, but we had so much rain overnight into Thursday. I mean, it absolutely poured by California standards, at least. I do think we're still going to be racing on Friday. As far as the turf goes, I think we'll all have to kind of wait and see what they end up deciding to do, because I believe they've kept the main track sealed all the way through the last couple of days, and then they'll open it up on Friday morning. This one at 6.5, if we're on the turf, still we'll have to keep an eye on it. I ended up with Rhythm on Stage, the 3 in this group. I really liked that last race from this gelding. I know we were going 2 turns, but it's something that I think he and Rispoli really connected. I liked the effort between the two of them. Simplicity is a horse actually my husband trained. He was a class dropper that kind of pulled it all together. Beldoro, we'll see if that horse ends up entering into the race. But the 6.5 furlong races, if you go a little further back in the form, are not bad for this horse. So I think rallying off the pace, I like what we're going to see from Rhythm on Stage and this jockey trainer combination. Agency at the Rail is a horse that I've always liked, but he just never put it together. I picked the horse in the Oceanside. He ran back in July of 2023. Conclude won that race, and he just hasn't quite been able to get back to his winning ways. I think if we do end up, washed off the turf, then of course you have to restructure your handicapping. You might look at Invincible towards the outside, the 8 horse who's at 3-1. Really nice main track race, albeit at Los Al. But this will be one that you have to kind of wake up and check those changes on Friday at Santa Anita before you can feel really, really secure in your selection.
1,000,000%. And we have handicapped this race, as it will be 6.5 on the turf. But yeah, you just never know. I do like your Rhythm on Stage, especially with Rispoli aboard. He's been on fire. He's just a class act jockey. I'm going against the 1. I don't really like him at all. I went with Hula Candy, the 7, 5-1. I love the 5-1 on that. But 7-year-old gelding by Twirling Candy for the red hot Jeff Mullins barn. Mullins running at 31% for the meet. This horse hasn't won since February last year, winning allowance optional claimer at Santa Anita. Was claimed at Los Alamitos race course in September by Jeff Mullins, the owner as well, half owner, for 40,000. Since then has run increasing Equibase speed figures in all of his starts since. And yes, you look at the race he was claimed out of, got last by like 28 lengths. That was on dirt.
Yep.
Yeah, so don't bet this horse if it's off turf tomorrow. But he went to his lowest level last time out in a 30,000 claimer, finished 6th by 4.5 lengths. But I love she was trying to sprint for the first time because she does have some really good speed. Ranked first in this race with an average speed of 90. Jockey Tiago Prado wins at 27%. Past year with horses going from routes to sprints on the turf. 6 wins from 22 starts, 11 in the money with a plus 215% ROI. That is a true number. And Jeff Mullins and Pryor winning at 29% in claim races together in the last 3 years. So I love 5-1 on that. It'll be a big test. First time, on that turf course, the downhill turf course, but maybe she'll love it. It's like those Kentucky Downs horses. It's so impossible to bet because they either love it or they hate it. And you'll never know until they try.
You never have to sell me on a Twirling Candy, some of my favorite offspring out there. So definitely win candidate. And Jeff Mullins, 17 winners already at the meet. He's just been really unstoppable.
You might as well bet all those horses are going to win a third of the time. But anyway, last but not least, Turfway Park. It's Florence, y'all. 1 mile on the all-weather for 3-year-olds and up. Non-winners with 2 lifetime. A lot of red mile nights. Me and Ellis been handicapping the late night Turfway cards. Reminds me so much of it. But I thought it was a great race to handicap, but very hot pace, I think. Who'd you land on for your contest?
It's the more time that I spend handicapping Turfway, the more I enjoy it. And I tell people all the time, I know that, we might be a little more comfortable betting dirt or betting turf, but once you really learn how to play synthetic and look for the right pedigrees and look for the right style, the prices are always there if you do a little extra digging. I think there's a lot of really nice horses in this race. I kind of took a long look at the 4 Friar Newton. I could see that horse winning on the class route for Palo Lobo. I think he's a barn that always does well at this meet. And I really love the Turfway Park debut from this horse. So he could very well get back to it. In the end, I did settle on Hope Joe's Right. Last 2 races are just too good to ignore. I know you have class droppers in here, but once he had the opportunity to run at a distance that I think suits him, that 1.25 miles at Turfway towards the end of 2024, I think was a bit too far. But the race of the Mile to 16th in January, where he won from 8:30, was a good effort. He came back on 2 lifetime, same condition that he's going to face on Friday. Wasn't beaten all that far. I just think his pattern is really improving. He looks like he likes the synthetic. And so often with the synthetic in general, I think it can dull a horse's kick a little bit. You might see more acceleration on the turf. But what I love is those, you mentioned the late pace numbers. I think the late pace on Racelands when it comes to any synthetic race is always so strong. And it doesn't always have to be the fastest horse, just that top group, first, second, third, fourth. Take a closer look at those runners that figure well on the late pace figures. So Hope Joe's Right, the 6 horse with Adam Beschizza was the choice for me. Oh, I think I lost you. There you are.
Can you hear me now? Okay, so for 2 out of the 6 races, we did land on the same horse. I do love 6 Hope Joe's Right here as well. Just the horse just loves just all weather, and 3 career starts with a win, a second, all at Turfway as well. And Beschizza aboard, like you said, definitely trust that jockey at Turfway. I watch Turfway a lot, and he knows how to ride that track. Past 3 years, Beschizza and Sharp went at 24% in route races at Turfway Park, 5 wins from 21 starts, 48% in the money. And so here's some stat lines from Pomona Labs. Over the past year, Joe Sharp is winning at 43% playing races at Turfway, 3 wins from 7 starts. So he's going there for a reason. That's the win. Lost last time out in this exact same level, so he got to keep the condition, which is huge. So 3-1, I think, would be a gift. I don't think we're going to get it, regardless.
You're right.
Well, anyway, good luck to anyone playing in NHC this weekend. Please stop on by the Equibase booth here at Horseshoe. It's at the NHC 2025. And come see Christina as well. Get all your questions answered about Racelands. And Christina, thank you so much for being on the show. Excited to meet you in person for the first time tomorrow. So
thanks. Yeah, I appreciate it. Appreciate you having me on, and looking forward to a great day out there at the Horseshoe on Friday.
Absolutely. Well, good luck in all your wagers tomorrow, and we'll see you next week.